The point is of caffeine being the final boss of addiction and sobriety. The point is everyone is still doing it. Alcoholics who have been sober for 30 years are still addicted to caffeine. I was in an AA meeting yesterday, and 100% of the 20-something people there were drinking coffee and in the morning, and they do every day. So if it is an addiction, I'm now 2 days free of caffeine, but I am 436 days since the last time I ejaculated. So I have retained my seed for the past 436 days. And I started that because I was addicted to lust. Addicted to lust. And all of us are in some way, shape, or form addicted to lust. And I thought, until recently, I thought I was such a badass because because I thought lust is the hardest vice to shed, or the hardest of the sins to get under control. The thing is, lust is an instinct. We're supposed to have sex, and we're supposed to want to have sex and be attracted to other people. But when those instincts get out of control, like the lust instinct gets out of control, it turns into all sorts of bad stuff, as it did for me. Things that where the lust addiction was controlling me much more so than I was controlling it. And it took me a long time to figure out that the only way for someone who's truly addicted to lust, the only way to cure it is to retain the seed, which has all of its, so many other of its own benefits, just all by itself. And then as we do that practice of learning to retain the seed, no ejaculating, no masturbation, no sex. As we learn to do that, this weird thing happens in the brain where it starts to heal from the lust addiction. And I'm speaking from experience. 300 and what did I say? No, I can't remember. 340-ish days. 440-ish days. I'm going on 15 months of no ejaculating. So I'm not here to toot my own horn about that, but I want to compare that to all the other things that I have been addicted to. Alcohol, which I had, I was not the kind of alcoholic who would be drink till you black out, which is technically the definition of, if you read the old school definition, alcoholics, if you take one drink, then you don't stop until you're either, you either wake up in handcuffs or, blacked out somewhere. That wasn't me. I was just a daily maintenance drinker, but it was not good for me, getting in the way of my life. I was lying about it to my wife and hiding it and secretive about it, doing it in my car. So very bad. So I quit. I had 2.5 years, and then I relapsed and I drank for a while. And now I've got like 5 months. But I'm done with that. No biggie. No, I'm done. I don't need to drink. With that, cannabis, smoked weed since I was 19, and I'm 50 now. I just lumped that together with the alcohol. I don't know when the last time is that I smoked pot, but I'm just saying it's 5 months because that's when I, quit, technically started going to these meetings. At the same time, I was using something else called kratom. So I was using kratom, alcohol, and cannabis, and lust, but the lust, I haven't jerked off or had sex for over 15 months. I haven't masturbated for 15 months, but I haven't had sex for longer than that. So kratom, we'll say it's 5 months too, just because I'm lumping kratom, cannabis, and alcohol all together. The day I walked into this one meeting that I go to like 4 or 5 days a week, that's just how I'm viewing that. I don't use any substances except coffee, which I've been a coffee addict since probably I'm 18 years old, 19. So I'm good. I'm done. I don't have any struggles with any of that. I don't want to use kratom. I don't want to use cannabis, and I don't want to drink. And I don't even I have the lust is under control. It's crazy how that has happened, because I've white knuckled it for many, many months, the lust thing, retaining the seed. And now my brain is healing. I feel it. It took over a year to stop, almost masturbating or almost spilling my seed. And that brings us to coffee, caffeine, not just coffee. If you're sober from all those other things, most of you aren't sober from lust. You might have stopped drinking and all that kind of stuff, but you're most likely drinking coffee, and you're most likely still have sex problems, which is no judgment here, because that's me as well, but not anymore. And like I said, it took some time. But if you're still drinking coffee every day, or caffeine every day, that's just partial sobriety. It's just partial sobriety. You're sober from these other things, but we're still addicted to a drug, and caffeine is a drug. And if we're addicted to something, then that means that that substance is controlling us. We're not controlling it. And that means that we're not free. And it sucks to not be free. And I think that in even just not being free, the drug of caffeine, in all its many places that we find it, is so bad for us. It's so much worse for us than we think, or than we've been told, because it's ubiquitous. You could get it anywhere. You don't need a prescription. There's no age, that you have to be in order to get caffeine. But it's so bad for us, for everything. It's bad for everything, everything from our gut to our brain, and our mood, and our endocrine system, the nervous system, all of it. So I quit coffee, and I had 10 days, and then I relapsed. And I didn't used to use that word for coffee, a relapse, but it's a drug. So I relapsed. I had 10 days, and then we were going sledding, and we were going over to a friend's house, and he had a bunch of hot chocolate and coffee, and I was with the kids, and everyone's drinking their coffee and hot chocolate. And it was so cold outside, and I just put some coffee in my hot chocolate, and that was it. I was off to the races. The next day I made a coffee, and the day after that. So for the next 5 days, I just went right back to drinking coffee the way I used to. And that's exactly what I would do with alcohol. If I had quit, and then you take a drink, it's like, whoa, it's just back to the races. So if it's an addiction, that's how it works. If you stop for a bit and then you decide to dabble, you're just going to jump right back into it, and it'll probably be worse, which it was for me with the coffee. So in closing this video, I'm going to talk a lot more about this, but in closing this video, I want to say I regret that I didn't maintain my sobriety from caffeine, and that I took that coffee drink, and then I started pounding coffee for 5 days. I stopped 2 days ago. I regret it because I was feeling so good. I was feeling so good for those few days, for those 10 days approximately that I stopped. I was feeling really good. I got to move my car. And then I was just like, well, I'm just gonna have a cup. And then that sent me off to the races. So a huge reason to stop is that you don't know what life is like without caffeine. And you don't know how strong it is, and what it's doing to your body, and how it's changing your life for the worse. We don't know because we're always on it. We're always on it. It has I have to look this up, but the last I looked, I think it has a 12-hour half-life. So if you drink 200 to 300 milligrams, you can do the math on how long just that little bit takes to get out of your body. By the time you drink your coffee the next morning and day, you're adding to that because that caffeine is still in your body for days. So I'm going to close with that, is that if you drink coffee and you consider yourself to be sober, you're in what's called partial sobriety because you're still addicted. And if you don't think you're addicted, just try stopping cold turkey and see how it feels. And I will tell you, it does not feel good. It is hardcore withdrawal, like kratom. Kratom and coffee were similar. Kratom sucked horribly. So moral of the story, kids, don't do drugs, don't jerk off, and quit coffee if you want to be a real sober person. I'm going to sign out. Until next time, I will talk more about this stuff.